Hey Scotty, Reds to One here. And I came by your YouTube channel simply through searching. And I really didn't know what I was looking for at the time, but I saw how nice your videos look. And in most of them, I can appreciate your demeanor and your creativity. It appears that you're a very creative young man. And I enjoy some of that. But I've posted many written things and haven't really gotten any responses from you. And I do have some questions for you. And so now I'm going to go ahead and try a video response and see how you do with that. And so what I'd like to do is I have a question. You say that Scripture centers on Israel. And I don't really have a problem with that. I think that statement is correct. Defining Israel, however, I think is a little different story. So what I'd like to do is read a passage of Scripture or maybe a few verses and show you something. And I'm not sure whether you see it or not. I don't intend to insult you in any way. But I'd like to first read from Galatians 4, verses 21 through 31. And I'm reading from the New American Standard Bible. And here's what we read. Tell me, you who want to be under the law, do you not listen to the law? So if they want to be under the law, he's saying, don't you want to be under the law? If you want to be under the law, don't you listen to the law so you can live under the law? 22. For it is written that Abraham had two sons, one by the bondwoman and one by the free woman. We know what he's talking about there, Ishmael and Isaac. Ishmael under Hagar, the bondwoman. Isaac under Sarah, the free woman. But the son by the bondwoman, according to the flesh, and the son by the free woman through the promise. So that Ishmael, Hagar and Abraham's son, is according to the flesh. But Isaac, Abraham and Sarah's son, is according to the promise. Now this, verse 24, allegorically speaking, for these women are two covenants, one proceeding from Mount Sinai, bearing children who are to be slaves. She is Hagar. So we've got Abraham and Hagar come together. Ishmael is the offspring, and they're bearing children who are to be slaves from Hagar. Okay? And Hagar represents one covenant. Sarah represents another covenant. Well, it tells us what covenant Hagar's children represent. In verse 25 it says, now this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia and corresponds to the present Jerusalem, for she is in slavery with her children. So what you have is Hagar represents the old covenant. Moses brought the law down at Sinai, and Paul is saying Hagar's offspring is this present Jerusalem, and she is in slavery with her children. So you have this present Jerusalem, according to Paul. The Israel of Paul's day is the children of the bondwoman born according to the flesh. I think that's pretty clear. But then he starts to make a distinction in verse 26. But the Jerusalem above is free. She is our mother. So now he's moving away from the children of the flesh, Abraham, Hagar, Ishmael, and the nation of Israel, modern day Jerusalem, and moving to the Jerusalem that is above, or the children of the promise, Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac. And then in verse 27, it says, for it is written, rejoice, barren woman who does not bear. Break forth and shout, you who are not in labor. For more numerous are the children of the desolate than of the one who has a husband. Of course, we know he's talking about Sarah there because she didn't have any children with Abraham for so long. Then in verse 28, it says, and you, brethren, like Isaac, are the children of promise. So he's saying to the Galatians and the family there throughout Galatia, you are not like the children of the covenant formed at Sinai, who is modern day Jerusalem. You are not of Abraham and Hagar and Ishmael. You are the the heirs of promise through Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac. And then in verse 29, it says, but as at that time, he who was born according to the flesh persecuted him who was born according to the Spirit, and so it is now also. Nobody knows better how badly the religious Jews persecuted the children of promise. You would call them the church, those born of the Spirit. So clearly Paul is bringing out the distinction that those Jews, even of modern day Jerusalem in Paul's day, are the children of Abraham and Hagar coming from Ishmael, and they are slaves, and they are after the flesh. And he is clearly saying that the children of Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac are the children of the promise. And he's saying that the children of the flesh, which is Israel, the Jew, is persecuting those born of the Spirit, which would be the children of Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac, the promise. So they are of the Spirit. So you've got the flesh persecuting the Spirit here. The flesh being represented by temporal, national, geographical Israel, and the Spirit is those born again by the Spirit of God. Verse 30 says, but what does the scripture say? Cast out the bondwoman and her son, for the son of the bondwoman shall not be an heir with the son of the free woman. Now he's saying that those natural, ethnic, geographically located Israelites and Jews that are not receiving the Spirit or Christ as Messiah are being cast out. They are the children of the bondwoman, the flesh, after the flesh. They're not going to receive the heirship of the throne of Christ that those who are of the Spirit are going to receive. And so, in 31, he says, so then, brethren, we are not the children of a bondwoman, but of a free woman. So clearly, what he's saying here is there's a huge distinction between national, ethnical, temporal Israel and its Jews, which in his day represented modern day Jerusalem, and those children of God that are after the Spirit, born again. And so what you have to understand is your statement that Scripture centers on Israel, I agree, is correct. But you seem to think that Scripture centers on a natural, ethnical, geographical Israel. Paul is saying here that the Israel of God is not the Israel we see located in the Middle East. It is an Israel that is called after the Spirit. Now, there are those Israelites, Jews, who very clearly see Christ as the Messiah. They would then be considered the children of the free woman, the children of promise through Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac. They are the people of the Spirit. So the Israel of God is the people of the promise of the Spirit, not a national Israel. Thank you.